It is undeniable that the Bitcoin is by far the most important invention in computer science since the internet. Yet, a lot of people still think that it is a scam that will burst sooner or later. In this video, I'll explain to you what is a Bitcoin and why its worldwide spread is inevitable. But before we start, and in order to understand why cryptocurrency is the natural evolution of money, let's take a quick overview on the history of money. There have been 4 generations of money in the past 3,000 years. Generation 1, barter. People used to exchange goods or services for other goods or services without using any form of money. Let's take the example of the farmer and the cobbler.
If the farmer's son wanted a pair of shoes, the farmer will take a gallon of milk and go to the cobbler and trade it for a pair of shoes. Until now all is fine, but what will happen if the cobbler only wanted half a gallon of milk? Would he give to the farmer 1 shoe? That doesn't make sense. Or even worse, imagine that the cobbler doesn't need milk at all. Then how could the farmer buy a pair of shoes for his kid?
He would be forced to search for another cobbler who accepts to exchange 1 gallon of milk for a pair of shoes. The main difficulty in barter is that some commodities are not easily divisible. If you have a cow and want to exchange it for rice, wheat, bananas, and a pair of shoes, you have to search for someone who can give you all what you want in exchange for the cow, which is very difficult. That's why the barter system failed immediately. Generation 2, precious metals. Second generation of money is precious metals like gold and silver. Precious metals were desirable to own because wearing them increased social status. In addition, precious metals are scarce and difficult to get. As a result, they became a store of value. After all, if something is difficult to get and you know there's plenty of people that want to have it, it makes sense to collect this thing, as you can likely trade it for other goods like food when needed.
So with new generation of money, the problem of the farmer was solved. So now, and in order to get the wheat, rice, bananas and the pair of shoes, all he has to do is sell the cow to another farmer in exchange for some precious metals. And then use them to buy what he wanted from other different sources. So comparing the precious metals to barter, trading via precious metals was an improvement because precious metals are scarce and desired, which made them a store of value, while commodities and goods can be perishable and cannot be always used as a store of value. Precious metals can be divisible to some extent. You can take your gold and divide it to 5 pieces and buy something with each piece. This is not doable with a pair of shoes, which can't be divided. But precious metals had a major problem. Gold and silver are not easily transported. They are heavy and not easy to use.
Imagine you live in Florida and want to go to New York to buy a house. It is going to be very difficult and costly for you to transport all the gold needed to own the house from Florida to New York.
This problem, along with other factors, were the reason behind the transition to the 3rd generation of money, which is paper money. If you are still watching this video, it means that you are interested in becoming financially free. That's why, when you finish this video, we invite you to go to the description where you'll find a lot of resources to help you make money from the comfort of your couch. You'll find the books we recommend to acquire the right mindset for success, free video course that will help you learn how to generate passive income and how to create a 6-figures online business, and much more. Of course, all the methods we teach or recommend are not get-rich-quick methods. There is a lot of work to be done up front before enjoying the money falling into your bank account. So don't hesitate to take a quick look at our description and enjoy learning.
Generation 3, paper money. The first form of paper money was gold certificate. People went to the bank to deposit their gold, and the bank gave them a paper that certifies that they own a certain quantity of gold. At first, this certificate method was weird for the majority of people. They thought it was a scam,
because they were used to see value in precious metals, and now all they have was a piece of paper. But they got used to it because dealing with paper money was much easier than dealing with precious metals.
Paper money is easy to transport, easy to divide, and much practical than gold in daily transactions. So paper money was tied to gold. If you have gold, you can go to the bank and exchange this gold with a certificate.
In 1944, during World War II, representatives from 44 countries agreed on a monetary system known as the Bretton Woods system. The United States were the most influential player because they held back more than 2/3 of the world's gold reserves. As a result, the US dollar became the world's reserve currency. The US dollar was tied to gold at a fixed exchange rate of $35 per ounce, and all other currencies were tied to US dollar. Which means that in order to be able to create more paper money, you have to mine gold and exchange it for money. This system worked well in the years after World War II. However, due to a negative balance of payments and the growing public debt due to the expenses during the Vietnam War, the U.S. federal bank started to spend more money than they carried gold in their reserves. They needed to reduce the public debt, and printing money was way easier than mining gold. So they printed money.
Printing money fast normally causes an inflation. Because when increasing the amount of printed money on the market, the households will have more cash to spend on goods. There will be more demand on goods while the supply remains the same, which will lead logically to the increase of the price of the goods. This is equivalent to the US dollar being devalued.
But that was not the case because the US dollar was tied to gold and at fixed rate, which meant that it was overvalued. European countries were mad and they left the Bretton Woods system. In 1971, the United States President Richard Nixon presented a set of economic measures that included decoupling the dollar from gold and thus the collapse of the Bretton Woods system.
So what is our current situation and what rules control printing money?
Nowadays, federal banks can print money whenever they want and cause inflation. Which means that if you own $100 now, it might be worth $98 in 1 year or maybe $50 in 20 years. And this is a major problem for paper money. Printing money increases the inflation and this will devalue the money you own. This is scary, right?
To give you a real example, a $100 nowadays could buy you the same amount of goods that you could have bought with $11.34 60 years ago. So in 60 years, the US dollar lost almost 9 times of its value. Hence, if you are saving money, be cautious that your money is losing value year after year. That is why saving money isn't really a smart solution.
If you want to learn more about how and where to invest your money, subscribe to this channel.
Because we will teach you how to invest wisely and how to master your personal finances. How to build a business from the comfort of your own sofa and make a 6-figure sum. How to take your business to the next level if you already have one. So don't hesitate to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay up to date with our latest videos. Another major problem of paper money are transaction fees. If you live in the USA and want to send 10 grand to your family in Africa, you have to pay hundreds of dollars in transaction fees, which is so expensive. In addition, paper currency could be forged. A lot of people copy the $100 bills and used it in illegal ways, and you can end up having by error counterfeit money, which might lead to you being arrested and losing your money. Moreover, there is no privacy using paper money. If you want to send money to your girlfriend in France, the bank or the money transfer platform you are using will know about it.
So to summarize, paper money has many different problems. First, it can be forged. Second, the infinite supply. The federal bank can print money as much as he wants. Third, the high transaction fees and very slow transactions if large sums are involved. Fourth, there is no privacy. The next logical step is to have a currency with limited supply, secure transactions, negligible transactions fees, very fast transactions, and with privacy ensured. So how to solve these problems?
Well, this is why the Bitcoin was invented. To solve all the problems that the third generation of money has. Generation 4, Bitcoin. Bitcoin has limited supply. Only 21 million Bitcoins can be produced. No one could wake up in the morning and decide to print more Bitcoin and cause an inflation like they do with your paper money. There will never ever be more than 21 million Bitcoins. Bitcoin can never be forged. You cannot copy or duplicate a Bitcoin the same way people can do with paper money. Bitcoin is a peer-to-peer currency. No need for a third party like banks or any other money transfer institution, so no one will know about your transactions and there is no room for any mistake in your transactions. After all, the third party responsible for transactions in paper money are humans, and humans can make mistakes. This is not the case of Bitcoin, where the transactions are 100% secure. Concerning the transactions fees, as we have seen earlier, they are expensive for paper money transactions. In Bitcoin, the fees are much less. You can do $1 million worth of Bitcoin transaction with $5 to $10 transaction fees. Of course, paying $5 transactions fees when you only buy a cup of coffee is not great, but for bigger transactions, using Bitcoin is awesome.
Developers all over the world are working on Lightning Network. This will shut down the transaction fees to almost zero and will boost the transaction speed. Once Lightning Network becomes operational and easily accessible, you'll be able to use an unforgeable currency with limited supply to do 100% secure, borderless and instantaneous transactions, with almost no fees.
This is why the growth of cryptocurrencies is inevitable. It solves the problems that paper money has. Imagine billions of people in Africa and Asia who don't have access to banking services. They will be able to execute instantaneous borderless transactions with zero fees, with just a phone and an internet connection. Can you see the huge potential of Bitcoins? Although with all the benefits of cryptocurrencies, we still hear a lot of voices considering that the Bitcoin is a scam, and paper money is backed by government and Bitcoin is not backed by anything. Well, it is true that Bitcoin is not backed by any government, but Bitcoin is backed by something much more powerful. It is backed by more than 10,000 years of math and computer science. I bet that you trust math and science more than you trust your government. Don't you?
To kill any fear, let me tell you more about the Bitcoin and how it works. In order to produce a Bitcoin, you need to solve an arithmetic problem. This problem gets more difficult when more people join the network, and less difficult when people leave. 10 years ago, you could have produced a Bitcoin using your own smartphone. Now you need much bigger machines in order to produce a Bitcoin. The technical word is not produce a Bitcoin, but mine a Bitcoin. So there are thousands of people all over the world trying to solve this computational problem. Once one of them solves this problem, he is rewarded by getting the Bitcoin. And all other people witness that a new Bitcoin was mined and register this Bitcoin in the blockchain. Anybody can buy the necessary machines and join the network and mine Bitcoins. There is no central authority. This big network of miners is responsible for protecting the network from any hack and validate all the transactions and writing them on the blockchain.
And what if Bitcoin got hacked? Well, to hack the network you need to have more computational power than the total of the network. That's too big for some person alone to have. So it is kind of impossible to hack the Bitcoin. Now the question is, should you buy Bitcoin? Well, as we have seen so far, the growth of cryptocurrencies is inevitable. Bitcoin is here to stay. Developers are working on Lightning Network, and you'll be able soon to make instantaneous borderless transactions with zero fees. Nobody would like to use a regular bank transfer anymore.
Of course, there is still a huge uncertainty about Bitcoin. And this is what makes its price volatile. But smart investors don't buy today in order to sell tomorrow and make some profits. Smart investors buy and hold for years and then sell with very high profits once the Bitcoin becomes more mainstream. And that's what I recommend you to do. You could have been a millionaire now had you invested $10,000 worth of Bitcoin in 2012. Moreover, there are more than 16 million millionaires in the world. Every single one of them might want some exposure to Bitcoin. Guess what? There are only 18 million Bitcoins in circulation right now, and most of them are held by people who are not selling. With time, the supply of Bitcoin will decrease and the demand will increase. And this will push the prices higher.
That's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to share it with one of your friends. Hit the like button to help us in YouTube algorithm and subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos like this one. By the way, if you are still here while the music is running, here are two videos that I think you'll love watching. All you have to do is to click on either one of them on the screen right here.